this is where we are. This is where I've ended up. I'm a positive. So I'm sure you guys can tell by the name of this video that I tested positive for COVID-19, coronavirus, and let's talk about it. Okay, so let me just start off by saying I suck at telling stories, so please, please, please forgive me in advance for probably how terrible this is about to go, because I'm terrible at telling stories. But anyways, I wanted to get on here and tell you guys how my experience was and going through the whole coronavirus and quarantining and everything that went into that. You guys, it's honestly so crazy because I really thought like I was immune and I wasn't gonna get it, because I had been going ever since things started opening up in my area. I had been going, like, in the beginning, I was definitely, like, I'll be honest, I was worried. Like, I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know, like, anything, really. I don't think any of us really knew, like, what coronavirus was completely. I was definitely worried. I was staying home. I wasn't leaving my house, like, ever. I think, like, just about everyone else. We just didn't know what was going on. It was the fear of the unknown. And so in the beginning, I was definitely freaking out. But as the months went by and as we started learning more about it and seeing the way it was affecting people and the way it was affecting healthier people and people with better immune systems, I kind of got a little less worried, considering my age and my immune system and my health. I honestly wasn't too worried as I was in the very beginning. So that being said, when things started opening up in my area, and I live in Northern Virginia, I definitely took advantage. You guys, I'm the kind of person who, like, I'm a homebody for sure. I like staying home, but it's something about someone telling me you have to stay home, like, no, I don't want to do that, you know what I mean? So I could not wait to get out of the house. I needed to, like, get some blood flowing, like, go outdoors and just, like, enjoy my, like, I just miss being outside and just, like, being around people and, you know what I mean? Just, like, things that I had been deprived for literally, like, it was what, like 2 months? So yeah, anyways, things started opening in my area, so I started going out for drinks, I started going for dinner, meeting up with my friends, hanging out, going to other friends' houses, and whatever. I also, mind you guys, I haven't been working since March. I got furloughed in the beginning of March. I was working in the transportation industry, so as you guys I'm sure know, that industry took a really big hit with this whole coronavirus. So I had not been working since March. I didn't have, like, a routine anymore. I didn't have, like, my 9 to 5, like, something that, like, I would do every single day. I'd clock in, I'd clock out. Like, I was missing that. So when I was able to go back out, I was like, yes, sign me up. I went out, I was seeing my friends, and I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna be living in fear all the time. Like, if I'm gonna get it, I'm gonna get it. It is what it is. I can't really, like, avoid it, you know what I mean? I'm still gonna go ahead and do the things I need to do. I'm gonna get the errands I need to get done. I'm gonna go and enjoy myself every now and then. Obviously, I was taking the right precautions. I was social distancing, using my mask, going in public, and all of that. I did everything that the CDC guidelines tells you to do. So that being said, what weekend was it? It was the weekend of the 7th. No. Yes. So that all being said, the first weekend of August, I had gone out and I went to get some drinks with some friends, and then we ended up going to our friend's house and we're just hanging out there for the night. And everything was good. Like, there was a couple of us, we were hanging out, everything was good. Fast forward to the next day, I wake up that morning and I have the biggest migraine. Not like any other migraine I've ever had in my life. And I get migraines pretty regularly. Not regularly, but if I don't drink enough water, like, I'll get migraines. I'm used to having migraines, but nothing to this magnitude. Like, it was just it just felt like I had so much pressure in my head. Nothing made it better. Like, I took Advil, I took Tylenol, I even took, like, a warm bath, because usually that, like, literally solves every problem I ever have, is taking a warm bath, and that actually even made me feel worse once I got out. I took Advil, I took Tylenol, I tried drinking soup, like, I laid in bed with a heating pad, like, I did it. So I figured I tried drinking soup, which, mind you, I don't even know why I thought that would help, but I also didn't have an appetite whatsoever the whole day, so I was like, I have to like put something in my stomach, and soup was pretty much the only thing that I could really get down. I wasn't nauseous or anything, but I just didn't have an appetite. And then back to the headaches. They were just so bad. I just felt like I had like the biggest pressure in my head. Like it was really full, and I had really bad sinuses. My nose was running all day long, like constantly. And then later towards the day, once I wasn't feeling that good, it just kept getting worse and worse. I figured I would take a bath, because anytime I don't feel well or my body hurts or I'm aching or whatever it may be, I take a bath and I honestly feel 10 times better. And I took a bath that day, and I just felt, by the time in the moment in the bath, it actually felt really nice and relaxing. But once I got out, oh man, I just made myself feel 10 times worse. I got the chills, like I was just miserable. I was laying on my bedroom floor, just like curled up, just like miserable. And I kept putting like a water bottle on my head, like a room temperature bottle on my head, and that was the only thing that was like bringing me relief. So that happened. That was the first day that I started feeling weird. And the whole time, like lately, I have been drinking a lot. I've been kind of going out, so I equated it with that. I was like, I haven't really been drinking a lot of water. I have been drinking a lot more than I normally am. Maybe it's just that, and my body isn't liking it. And once it got later towards the end of the day and it still hadn't gotten better, I'm like, okay, this is definitely not like me. I don't, especially like if I have a headache and I take Advil, it always goes away within 30 minutes, but that wasn't happening, and I took Advil and Tylenol, obviously within like 4 or 6 hours apart, but it wasn't helping. So I'm starting to think, I'm like, in the back of my head, I'm thinking, do I got the virus? But at the same time, I'm trying to be positive and not like speak it into existence. And I wasn't trying to manifest it. So I was like, you know what, Iman, you're fine. Just like keep laying down. I stayed home all day, laid in bed, and just like watched movies. And mind you, I was with 2 of my friends that day as well that were with us, or that were with me at our friend's house the night before. So they had spent the night and they were with me that whole day. And they were like, man, you really like must have had a rough night last night. And I'm like, I really did. It wasn't that rough, but I guess so. I don't know, maybe like my body's just exhausted. Later that night, my friends end up leaving. They go home, roll over to the next day, and I wake up and I have no smell and no taste whatsoever, like at all. And I'm like, and I didn't realize actually. So fast forward to that following day, I wake up and I have no sense of smell and no sense of taste. And I honestly didn't even realize till probably like mid-afternoon, because mind you, I didn't really have an appetite, so I wasn't eating. All I was having was water, and that has no taste. And I wasn't really smelling anything. I wasn't putting any perfumes or anything on that I would smell. And I didn't really notice until I had taken a shower that day, and I was blow drying my hair, and this product that I always use, it's actually right here. It's this little guy, the IGK Next Level Nordic Cotton Heat Activating Volume Spray. I was using this, and if you guys know this product, you know it smells amazing. And when I couldn't smell it, I was like, oh God. And I knew that that was a symptom, because one of my friends who was at my house the night before, she was the first person I ever knew to test positive, and that was like 2 months ago, or maybe a month ago. And I knew, and her symptoms were, she lost her sense of taste and smell, and that was it. She didn't have a migraine or anything. She felt totally fine. She just couldn't taste or smell anything. So, and she was positive. And so when that happened to me and I woke up and I couldn't smell and taste anything, I knew. I was like, that's it. Done deal. I got it. I'm a positive. For sure. Like, for sure. You know, like there was no guessing game at this point. Like I knew I had it. So then I'm like, okay, I need to go and get tested. I'm the kind of person who I need to know things for sure so that I can stop like overthinking and like just worrying and stuff. So I'm like, all right, I need to go, make sure I have it, and then like quarantine, you know? So I had gotten tested before this. When my friend had tested positive, we were together around that time, so I had went and got tested with her. She ended up being positive, I ended up being negative. So I ended up going back to that same place to get tested, and you have to like book an appointment, or you have to book like a virtual appointment in the beginning where the doctor screens you. They call you over FaceTime, the doctor screens you, and like make sure you qualify to get tested, and then that's when you go get tested. So luckily a friend of a friend had worked at this clinic that they do the corona testing at, So she was able to get me an appointment that same day. The doctor FaceTimed me. I let her know, like, I couldn't smell, I couldn't taste, I had a migraine the day before. She was like, all right, like, say less, come in at 5 and get tested. And the place that I had gone to was a drive-through testing. Like, now that I'm thinking about it, I should have vlogged all of this. I don't know, obviously, like, my head wasn't all there. I was just, my brain was not working. But anyways, the place I ended up going to was a drive-through testing place. So you stay in your car. It was super convenient, right down the street from me. And it actually went by super, super quickly. So I got there was a couple cars ahead of me, so nothing too crazy. I probably waited for maybe like 5 to 10 minutes. I got the swab in my nose, and man, to say it's uncomfortable is an understatement. It just, like, they go so far in your nose, and they have to like swirl it around for like 30 seconds to like really make sure they get like the samples and know if you're positive. So yeah, she's like in there, and I'm like trying to pull away, and she's like, keep still. I'm like, it hurts. Anyways, I'm the biggest baby. Like, let me just say, like, it could be anything or it could be nothing, and I'm like freaking out. It's a mental thing for me. I freak myself out. It has nothing to do with a physical aspect. It's just, I think about it too much and then I start freaking out. But anyways, we did it. They don't tell you the results right then and there. It was one of the places that I had to find out the results like 3 to 5 days after. So she took my swab. That was good to go. I went home and I stayed quarantining until I got my results back. And like, you have to have like a patient portal, and they send you the information via email. So at that point, I go home, and now I'm just like going down the list of the people that I was with. I call my friends that I was with the night before, and I'm like, listen, like, I think I'm positive. I woke up today, I have no sense of taste and no sense of smell. And one of my friends that I was with the night before, she's like, oh my goodness, I woke up today and I have the biggest migraine. And she's like, oh, I'm so sorry, I didn't believe you. I thought you were just partying too much and too much drinking. And I told her, I was like, I told you, I know my body. I know I wasn't feeling good, and I knew it was like something else other than just that. But I obviously, you know, I was trying to be positive. So she ended up coming to my house, and we ended up quarantining together. Well, actually, just kidding. She quarantined for the first week by herself at her place, and then for the second week, she ended up coming to my house. A whole week goes by. I still haven't gotten my results yet. At this point, I'm like in the mindset that I have it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm staying home. I call the clinic and I'm like, hey, this is like taking a lot longer than it did the first time. Like, is everything okay? Come to find out, I guess I have to set up a patient portal twice. Like, I guess the first time, like, didn't work because I had gone to this place before. I signed up and made a patient portal to get my results. And I thought, like, I wouldn't have to do that again, but I guess I did have to do that again because the whole time I'm sitting here waiting for my results, and they had already been sent to me like days ago. So I called them. They're like, well, check your patient portal. You have to make an account. I'm like, I already did. Well, they're like, you have to do it each time you get tested. So I do that, and I go on, and let me show you guys what it says. So as you guys can see, that is me right there, Emen Durder, and it says does that say? That's my name, and there it says not detected. It was a negative, you guys. Negative. And I know I had it, like, for sure had it. So it came back as negative, and that was the biggest mind fuck to me. Like, I was like, wait a minute. This has to be wrong. And that's when it, like, my mind starts going at 1,000 miles per hour, and I'm like, are all these tests wrong? Like, do they not have accurate information? Like, what's going on? Like, I can't trust these tests. And then I'm like, okay, I know I have it. So I saw that, and I'm like, yeah, I don't believe this. I'm gonna go get tested again. So right then and there, I left. Me and my friend was staying at my place. We were quarantining together. Me and her both were like, you know what? Let's just go get tested somewhere else, and let's go to the ones that they give you the results, like, right then and there. So we Google it, we find a place that gives us results within 30 minutes. So we drive over there, we go and try and get tested, and it's like probably, I think, like 2 in the afternoon at this point. And we walk in, we don't have an appointment, and the lady is like, oh, like, we let her know, like, hey, like, we want to get tested. She's like, you guys have to make an appointment. We're not seeing any more walk-ins today, blah, blah, blah. Like, go online, fill this out, do all of this. And I'm like, okay, well, can we make same-day appointments? She's like, not really. We're pretty full right now. You probably have to make it for tomorrow. So I go online, I'm reading their website, and in big, bold letters, like right before I even scroll down to anything, it says, if you are showing symptoms that you are to be tested right then and there, you don't need an appointment. So I go back inside and I'm like, ma'am, we can, it says right here that we can get tested without an appointment if we have symptoms. And she's like, well, do you have symptoms? I'm like, yeah. She's like, well, you didn't tell me. I'm like, well, you didn't ask. So anyways, like, I was trying not to get an attitude with the lady because she was trying to, like, shoo us off. I'm like, listen, like, we're trying to get tested here. We're trying to do our part. I know you can test us today. Like, there's no, like, that's just, it just didn't sound right to me when she's like, oh, make an appointment, come back tomorrow. Because I know if you have symptoms, like, they have to test you. But anyways, and they had like a bunch of people before us that had appointments and who had walked in and were there well before us. So we had to wait. She was like, the wait could be 2 to 3 hours. I'm like, you know what, that's fine. Like, I'm not doing anything anyways. Like, I'd rather just wait. So we end up staying. And we waited for probably like 2 hours, I want to say. Me and my friend, luckily she was with me. She kept me occupied because my phone was dead at the same time. So I'm just like sitting there like, well, this is fun. They finally call our names. We go back there. They get our vitals and everything. They check our temperature, check our heart rate, our oxygen levels, everything like that. We're good. She said we're healthy in that aspect. Then that's when they do the test portion. And at this place, like, she barely went into my nose. Like, I think, like, barely. And she did both nostrils this time. At the first place I went to, they just did one nostril. At this other place, they did both nostrils with the same, I don't know if it was the same swab or not, actually, I can't remember. But yeah, both nostrils, and she didn't go that far. And so that happened. She did it for both me and my friend, and then she took us to a room where we had to wait to speak to the doctor, and she would give us our results. So we were in the room. I think it was like 20-30 minutes that we waited for the results, and then that's when the doctor comes in and she's like, yep, you're positive. And I'm like, I knew it. So luckily I went and got a second opinion because I knew for sure that I had it. So when I got that negative, I knew for sure, like, this is wrong, let me go somewhere else. So luckily I had done that, and the both places I went to were free. I didn't have to pay for anything. I don't know how it is in like different counties, but at least in my county, in Fairfax County, I didn't have to pay for it. I do have health insurance, and I did have to provide it at the second place I ended up going to. So, but anyways, that was my crazy story. Thank you for those of you who made it this far. I know my stories are literally all over the place. Like, I throw a bunch of different things at you guys, and I hope it makes sense, and I hope it was kind of entertaining. I know my story was a little bit like all over the place. Thank you to those of you who reached out to me, who checked on me. That was super sweet, and I really appreciate it. It definitely kept my spirits up. But yeah, I just wanted to share my COVID-19 experience with you guys, and just sit on the camera and talk for a little bit and see where I've been. That's also why I hadn't been filming videos. I just had like the worst pressure in my head that I just couldn't sit down and film, and then also my sinuses were going crazy. Like, if I attempted to put makeup on, I would get so annoyed from how many times I'd have to blow my nose and like reapply my makeup. So I was like, you know what, let me just get better and then I'll film. So I'm back, you guys, and I know I've said this so many times during these past couple months. To be honest with you guys, I've just been in a really funky headspace. Like, my mind isn't there, like, completely. Like, I'm not in that place that I normally am. But I'm just gonna stop talking because I've been talking for a really long time. My mouth is dry. I need to drink my cold coffee at this point. But yes, thank you guys so much for watching my video. I really do appreciate it. As always, please subscribe and give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. And until next time, bye guys.